Let's talk to Ryan.
Okay.
Let's talk to Ryan. Hi, Ryan. This is Ryan.
Hi.
Ryan from New York. What would you like to talk about today?
Yes.
Don't say vaginas.
Remember me?
I know. I'm sorry. I host a lot of shows. Unless you're talking to Jenna. I thought you said Shannon. Sorry.
Oh, hi, Jenna.
Hi. Yeah. What were we talking about?
I actually called last year when you were with Matt and
Me?
Yep, Shannon. Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I actually.
Full disclosure, I don't remember where I was this morning, so.
Yeah, I figured you probably wouldn't remember, but you know, I wasn't really organized when we spoke, and I wasn't really prepared to fully defend my position, and you know, it went south. I'm glad I'm kind of glad you don't remember, because Matt started getting into the slavery thing.
Well, let's start over then.
Okay, we got a clean page. So let's start writing a news story. Ryan, what would you like to talk about today?
Okay. Well, actually, the last caller really touched me, because that's literally the exact thing that I've been struggling with probably about at least the last year when I got laid off.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Just the whole fact. I have you on speaker. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was exhaling in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah. So basically, just the fact that if God is so good and he knows everything beginning to end, he would have to know that all of these people would end up in hell, right? And
you think
it's like, but the conversation, when the last call we had, basically, you know, I told you guys that I was a born again Christian. I had an experience in prison where a man, he started showing me the Bible. But I was an atheist up until 19 years old. I went to prison when I was 17. I have bipolar disorder, but I can relate to the last caller. You know, and I know you're experienced in you know, brain chemistry and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Why are you calling today? Because it sounds like you might want to talk about how hell is keeping you in your religion, but you also might want to talk about how one experience that you had in prison has you convinced. Like, what is it that if that had not happened, you would not believe in any gods?
Okay. Well, like the last guy, I mean, when I was 12, 13 years old, you know, I started having suicidal thoughts at that young age. I had very bad depression even at that young age. I never met my father. I don't know him, but long story short, well, I don't know if I can make this story short, but I guess my call is to talk about proof of intelligent design.
Okay. Okay. So proof of intelligent design. What's the proof of intelligent design, Ryan?
Okay. So last time I said, you know, we have the order and complexity of the earth and the universe and everything that we know of, right? We know we have the 26 constants, you know, like the angle of the earth and the distance from the sun and all of these things that if they were not perfect, you know, there would just be nothing. And my question was, I made a nonsensical statement that you pointed out, and I realized it after I said it, is what is the scientific proof for atheism? And you said, well, you know, there is, you know, atheism is a lack of a belief in God and God. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. So I thought about that.
I think we're all over the place a little bit here, Ryan. I think if we're focusing in first, I'm glad you're okay right now. That's important for me to acknowledge before we go on, because I don't want you to think that I'm dismissing that. It's very important that I let you know that I'm glad you're okay. But when we're talking about the proof of intelligent design, let's focus in on that. Last time I guess went down several rabbit holes, and I feel like that's what's happening this time. So if you feel like there's proof of intelligent design, you brought up the Earth's angle is a constant. Like, so the axis that the Earth is on and its distance from the sun actually aren't constants. And there is a habitable zone that's a little bit, bigger than what the Earth's actual orbit is. So we could deviate slightly and still have life, for example. So when you're talking about this, it sounds kind of like maybe a bit of like a fine-tuning argument, maybe that, there's mathematical and physical constants, and that couldn't be any other way. If they deviated just slightly, the universe would be different than it is. Therefore, God. Is that along the lines of where we're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two questions that I think are pretty good.
Okay.
Is why is there something other than nothing?
I don't know.
Why is there this instead of nothing? Yeah, and that's one question. And the second question
something
is
happened.
really,
I have no idea.
Yeah, the second question is interesting, is because it kind of has to deal with what came first, the chicken or the egg. My question is, as far as evolution goes, is what came first, female or male? Because in order to have...
Probably neither.
Hold on. You're throwing a whole bunch of questions out there. What's your favorite question?
Yeah.
That's your favorite question?
What is your favorite question? Let's pick one and we can dissect it, because there's a lot that goes into each of these.
Because it's like you just emptied apologetics book on the table and then just started throwing all of it at the wall.
Yeah. So basically, that's a very good analogy. So basically, what we've spent a lot of time on this call already. We have a very short period of time left and several callers who we would like to get to. So how about, instead of going over your old calls, how about you go over this call and try to pick out of what you said, what's your favorite thing? What is the one thing out of the reasons that you've given us to defend, which one, if it wasn't there, you would be an atheist? Okay, so pick your favorite one. Pick the one that you're like, no, this is my hardest, best, solid evidence for believing that there's a God. Okay, and then we'll talk about that one next time, because there's a lot behind each of these things. And it sounds to me like you may be somewhat new to trying to explain these things. Is that correct?
Yeah. Most of it goes on in my mind, and when it comes out, it doesn't usually come out how I think about it.
And I totally get how you feel. The thing is that something that somebody told me was to imagine, are you an expert in anything? Is there any one thing that you've just done a whole bunch of research and you feel like you could school anybody on it?
Bipolar.
Okay, so take that topic and you know X amount about that topic. Now think about how everybody else knows whatever compared to you. You know the amount that everybody else knows about bipolar, about everything else. So that helps me to understand that I know very, very, very little about literally everything. And these particular topics can have very long conversations attached to each of them individually. And so for time's sake, if you could just pick one, then we can go over that one. And then if that doesn't work, then you can pick another one and we can try again.
Okay, I'll be quick so you can get another caller. So basically,
do you want to take one now, Shannon, or do you want to try to move on to another caller?
I'll take one. We just gave him the opportunity. So one though, one. One.
Okay, so if I become an atheist and start believing there is no God or hell, then I can get drunk every night. I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to worry about any punishment.
If you get drunk every night, your boss is going to punish you.
Why would you assume those things? Why would you assume that people who get drunk every night have no consequences?
And why would you assume that that's not something that you can do now? Like, you can literally do that now, and you can just go,
Sorry, God.
Sorry. And be absolved. I have to live with the consequences forever in my own conscience. It's like I have nothing to absolve me. So if that's your one question, Ryan, like let's start with a blank page again.
What happens after
Because
death? What happens after death, really, you know, is the main
Who
question.
knows?
same thing that happened before
So-
we were born
so
is what I
again-
would think. Same
again,
thing that happened
Ryan-
before we were born. And you're just going down the line. You're
Again,
just saying,
pick
that
one.
one didn't work. Next, that one didn't work. Next, that
Yeah.
one didn't work. Next, that one didn't work. Next. And it's really frustrating because we're not actually having a conversation. We're just addressing the point that you made and you go, oh, that didn't work.
I don't like this.
Let's try this one. And that's really, 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 really frustrating. Because you're not
Sorry.
proving any individual point. You're bringing up a point and attempting to monologue your way through to maybe saying we couldn't address one fully when really you're just like abandoning them. Like you should feel bad for your points, Ryan, because you're abandoning them. You're leaving them alone on the side of the road, undefended after you set them out into the universe. You're just walking away from them like they didn't even matter, like you never cared about them to begin with. Because
Well,
you're
he may
more
not
interested
have.
in the next point. You've got a wandering eye for arguments, and you need to narrow it down. Like find something that you think is a good point and learn a couple things about it, and then come and talk about just that instead of talking about all 47 things that we just attempted to have a discussion with you about.
Right.
But we do have to go to a next call.
But actually
Okay,
look
you guys have a
into
good night.
thank you. After you select your point, after you select your one point, go and do extensive research on just that one point and then come and call us. Because I promise, there is enough to have an entire conversation on any one of those points. I promise.
Okay, ladies.
Thank
All
you.
right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks for calling, Ryan.
Thank you for calling.
I appreciate his inquisitive nature. I am sorry
I do.
for his experiences.
That is, I agree, but that is such a common thing when people call that is a little bit frustrating. I can understand why Matt's like, get to the point.
Yeah.
Because you keep entertaining it and giving concessions and then it goes nowhere. And then they throw something else and then that goes no. And then you,
Yeah.
oh gosh. Okay. All right, cool.